Welcome back to the Current Electric High School Basketball Boys State Championship Preview Show, presented by Cannon and Dunphy. I'm Mike McGivern alongside Hall of Fame Coach Paul Wallersheim from Greendale, Martin Luther. Paul, let's look at tonight's Division IV matchups. Number 1, Bonduel takes on the Prairie School at 6:30, again here on My 24, followed by number 2, Mineral Point versus La Crosse Aquinas. Let's start with the Bears from Bonduel. 27-1 overall. They went undefeated in the Central Wisconsin East Conference, and they are coached by Duke Kopp, his 12th year as the head coach of the Bears. And this is the first trip to state for this program. They have 5 players averaging in double digits, and Coach Kopp talked about a non-conference game being the turning point of this season.
We were humming along pretty good there. Undefeated, had a number 1 ranking, and ironically, we had a game canceled because of the weather. And we were trying to find a replacement game, and Roncalli was looking for one too. So we got them on the schedule, and they spanked us pretty good. And that was just probably less than a month ago. And since that game, I mean, we decided, hey, let's make this loss worth it. The next night in practice already, the kids came out with just a different mindset, and we've been on more of a mission since then. So I think that was a big key.
Paul, when you listen to Coach Kopp talk about that loss they had against Roncalli, and they got beat pretty handily in that game. If you can take a non-conference loss and learn something from it, a huge deal. The other part, when he talked about having 5 players in double figures, as a coach, when you're breaking down teams, it's harder when a team has 5 guys in double figures.
The balance, because what
Right.
you like to do when you're putting a game plan together is you look to see who can we play off a little bit, who's not going to hurt us, who doesn't like to shoot. You just kind of look for those tendencies. And when you have 5 guys in double figures, you can't really do that. You have to play them all pretty straight up and pretty honest. And as when you're putting a game plan together as a coach, that's a huge benefit.
Yeah,
So
it is.
yeah,
It's tough, and the coaching staff at Prairie are going to have their hands full. In fact, let's talk a little bit about Racine Prairie, a team that you're very familiar with from your conference. 14-15 overall, took 7th place in the Metro Classic Conference, coached by Jason Atanasoff, 14th year as the head coach at Prairie. Jason talks about playing in your conference and the really good coaches that you have to go against every single night.
I don't think I can adequately put into words what played in our conference, how well that's prepared us for the postseason. To your point, the coaches are outstanding. Shoreland Lutheran finished in last place. We finished in 7th. Paul Strutz is as good of a high school coach as I know.
Yeah.
There's no secrets. There's, numerous Division I and II recruits throughout the conference year after year. 3 of the top 10 teams in Division III throughout the year were 6 of our games. Martin Luther was ranked in Division II. That's 8 of our games. St. Joe's, who's played in the state title game the last 2 years, that's another 2 games. Defending state champ Thomas More, and then obviously Shoreland Lutheran. So there's no easy nights. At the same time, I feel like playing those teams only made us better, even for all the tough losses. And we certainly ran off the court a couple of times in those games. But, we lost at Martin Luther in overtime, and we lost by 5 at St. Cat's, and we played Lutheran tough the first time. So there was always flashes that we were capable. It was just getting over the hump to beat some really good teams. And plenty of gray hair later, we finally found a way to win some of these close games in the playoffs. Our last 4 wins were by 5, 5, 5, and 3. And so for all those close losses, we said after the regional at Deerfield, maybe all those close losses were just leading up to this moment. And to win 4 close ones in a row with our young group has been pretty remarkable.
I'm a big fan of Jason's. I think he does a really good job, and he's a good man. And tough for them when your best player from a year ago goes to a prep school. You kind of got to redo the things that, like we thought we had this kid coming, and to be able to bounce back and get to the state semifinals, get up to Madison with a team where your best player who committed to Madison and now went to a prep school, you got to kind of redo this thing. You're a big fan of what Jason does over at the Prairie School.
I mean, they played us tough twice. I mean, we, 5 points down at their place, overtime at our place, and you're just really happy for him and their program when you lose a player like that, kind of unexpectedly.
Right.
And for the whole team to kind of go through the season they went through with a lot of tough losses, and then to make this run to the, to state. And you take a look at their run through the regionals and sectionals. There's nobody. I know they had a lot of close games that they won. There was nobody in there that resembled the teams they play in the conference.
Right.
And so there was nothing. It didn't matter if it was going to a regional final, a sectional semi, a sectional final. They weren't going to be intimidated by this. Even with their record, they weren't going to be intimidated by the situation or the the bright lights.
If you're just looking out and you're from you don't know anything about the Prairie School, and you see they were 14 and 15, and you think, well, they must have had a really easy regional sectional. They can't be that good if they're 14 and 15. This is a really good basketball team playing their best ball at the end of the season, which I always think teams are well coached if they're playing their best basketball at the end of the season. It surprised me that they got there. I know the guys in your conference probably not surprised that they at least had a chance to get there and then got the deal done. And how do you think they match up with Bonduel?
I like their chances. Bonduel has played certainly a different schedule than Prairie School has. And when they did, when they played Roncalli, Roncalli is going to probably be similar to a Prairie School. They lost pretty big. Now Bonduel, their coach said that that was a turning point. So, and they're used to winning 27-1. That's a group of kids that's probably very tough-minded. But again, I don't see the Prairie School being intimidated by a record like that when they've gone into St. Catherine's, they've gone into Dominican, they've gone into Racine Lutheran and played teams like that all season long. So this to me is a really good matchup, a 1-4. It's kind of a Cinderella story. This is the third year in a row now that our conference has sent a team to state in D4 out of this sectional, and Prairie School's got just as good a chance at advancing to the state championship game, just like St. Joe's did the last 2 years.
What kind of team is Prairie? Do they get up defensively? Do they pick up full? Are they trying to speed the game up, slow the game down?
I wouldn't say they try to control. They don't really try to control tempo. They've got a really good point guard. They've got a really good big man. They've got a sophomore of Ride Vanaus that can shoot the three. Carson Egg, their point guard. Egg can really shoot it can really handles pressure, and he really runs the team. And their big man is athletic. I mean, he throws it. He'll get. It seems like every game he's got a dunk or two. He's very athletic and he can play.
Well, looking forward to seeing that game. We're going to get to a break. On the other side of the break, we will break down the other Division IV matchup. This is the Current Electric High School Basketball Boys Preview Show, presented by Cannon and Dunphy, only on My 24.